Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I am going to be reviewing a couple volumes of poetry that I read this week and discussing what I've learned about myself in poetry from these volumes. So for those of you who didn't watch a What I've Been Up To recently video, one of my goals this year for reading was to read more poetry, but more specifically to figure out what kind of poetry I like. It's such a broad genre and yet I find myself not liking a lot of the stuff I pick up in it, but I feel like that's more on me. I go to my library, there's this massive shelf of hundreds and thousands of volumes of poetry and I go, and I just black out and pick a couple. And then I go home and I don't like what I'm reading, and so I return it and I say, well, I don't like poetry. But I don't think that's true because there has been poetry that I have really liked. So I'm trying to narrow or hone in on what I actually like in poetry so I can better select things that I do like and not waste my time being like, well, to be well read, I should probably read poetry, but I don't like any of this stuff. Because, well, first of all, I don't think you have to read poetry to be well read, but also I feel like there's stuff in there that I do like and I'm just not finding it because I don't know what I'm looking for. So my goal this year is to read more poetry, and because the volumes tend to be quite slim, I can read a collection or two each week and then just try to reflect on that and figure out what I liked or didn't like about what I read. So I'm going to just be grouping these together because I feel like I don't have enough to talk about to review each of these individually, but I am going to discuss the two volumes that I read this week and kind of where I'm going and what I've learned from it. So this week I read two volumes. This one is just a plain cover. It's that older style book. This is from 1975 called 40 Salutes to Michigan Poets, and it's this like pretty blue color. And the second one is Amethyst and Agate, Poems of Lake Superior. So that's what this one is, and it has this really pretty cover. So we have these two. I found this one on a whim, but this one has been hanging out in my library for a while and I've been meaning to pick it up, so I finally did this week. So I read this one first, and this one, again, I find that there's poetry that I don't like that I'm like, I have no clue what's going on. There's poetry that's just fine, and I'm like, okay, that was something that I read. And then there's some that I like. And in this one, there was only two that I liked. The first one was very short, so I'll read it. It was by Irene I don't know. It's this one right here. Called it's untitled, but it says, "It does a person no good if he lifts the burden from his shoulders, places it in a hot air balloon, then climbs in with it." So I liked that one. And then the other one I liked, which I won't read the whole thing because it's a little longer, is by Elmer C. Adams, called An Errand. But if you have a copy of this book, it's on page 118. So that was the other one that I liked in here. So there were two in this one that I did like. None in here were would say I didn't like. The rest of them were just okay, fine. And it was a little older, and one of the reasons I picked this is because I figured no one else would place this book on hold because it was probably a little less popular at this point. Next up, Amethyst and Agate. So this one was just poems about a wide variety of topics, but the poets all had to be associated with Michigan, or like this Michigan Poet Society, Poet Society of Michigan or something. And they have like the members or something in the back, the officers. This one is just people who could write in from anywhere who wanted to write poems around Lake Superior, which is the largest of the Great Lakes that goes between Canada and it borders Canada and the United States. So that was this one. And this one I found very easy to visualize all of them, but there's only one that really stood out to me, and that was Wishing for Lake Superior. And this is on page 36 through 37 by Deborah H. Doolittle. So a lot of the poems in this one and this one are only one page or less than one page, so they're pretty quick to read. This collection is, it looks like around 120 pages, and this collection is also around 120. One of the surprising things about this one that I didn't realize it had though, and was actually my favorite, not the poetry, was art. I didn't realize that they had included some local artists to include scenes in here, and some of these were super pretty. So now I feel like I just need to get a book with the art, and there's two sections with it. Oh, also I marked my poem with one of these like paint samples that you can get at the store, and someone please tell me that you can take these for free, because I just took them because I was like, yeah, you can take these for free, right? To like see what you want your walls to be. And then I realized I didn't know if you had to like pay 10 cents to get them. There's no scan on the back, so now I'm like worried that I have shoplifted from Walmart. So someone please confirm that you can just take these, because I took like 20 home with me from Walmart. But yeah, there was art in this, and that was probably the highlight. So because I am also trying to narrow down what I like about poetry, I'm trying to think like, okay, what did I like about these, and what when the poems that I did like, what did I like about them? So I'm trying to be a little more intentional than being like, that was fine. Toss them aside. Never think about them again. And I think there's like levels to poetry, and if I can't visualize what's going on in a poem, if it's more conceptual, if it's more philosophical, that's like advanced poetry, and I'm not at advanced poetry level. That, I'm sure it's good stuff, but that's like the calculus level. I need like the counting level. I need to visualize what's going on, and I need to be able to clearly envision what's going on. I don't need the vibes, which maybe you can get to that point, you probably do, but if it's just like the vibes and the philosophy, I'm just confused and I'm wondering why I'm not reading something that's a little bit more concrete. So these both were very concrete. Some other ones that I've read and that I definitely, looking back, didn't like were ones that were much more philosophical, and like there's just some words on a page and you're supposed to get the vibe. And I'm sure it's very avant-garde, and I'm sure like you can sit around a coffee house and feel intellectual, but unfortunately I'm not there yet. So I need to know what's going on in the poems. Otherwise I feel like I just get really irritated, and it's like I'm reading English, but I don't understand what's going on. And it's a very frustrating experience. Like if I don't want to know what's going on, I can just read something in a different language, you know what I mean? So I do think that these were both concrete, and I do like that. So I'm going to try to, maybe I can build up to that philosophical stuff, and maybe if I'm way off base, someone can tell me in the comments, and maybe I'm deeply offending the poetry community. But I like things that are concrete and that I can imagine, and I did find the poems that I gravitated towards in these books were very concrete, and I felt like I could feel. And I feel like that's also true. So I recently reviewed a poetry collection, and I've talked about in my poetry collection how a good photographer makes you feel the photograph. Like I can look at the photograph and I can feel what it's like to be there. And I feel like a good poet, it's a situation I can imagine and I can feel being in there. And that's what I feel like both the poems that I didn't read describe situations that I could feel myself being in very vividly. Like I could smell it, I could feel it, I could just be there. So I felt like that is really something that I'm looking for, and that's the kind of poetry that I'm gravitating towards. If you have any thoughts or comments, please let me know in the comment section down below. I love to receive your thoughts and comments. Seeing that I've gotten a comment makes my day, so please leave those comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.